right, all right.
Oh, damn. You got that radio walker. Okay. How you do that?
Welcome to Modest Humanity.
Yeah, we should totally do an intro over the song like that and have Jesse do a low voice. Welcome to Modest Humanity.
Explosion.
And we're live in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. This is the Modest Humanity podcast. How are we doing this week? We got 4 of us in the house today. We got Mr. James Bowman here
King
to my
James?
left.
King
James Sideways 8.
What's good?
To the left of him, we have Dancing Stone,
What's happening?
Bryce
What's happening?
Beasley,
Yes, sir.
Bryce
frontman
Kelly.
for Modest Rod.
Let's
and
go.
We also have to the left of him, Captain Oasis, Jesse Fulbright.
Hello, everybody.
The assassin. You never know what's coming
Dressed
from
in all
this
black.
man. Dressed in all black as an assassin
Got the
does.
tights on and everything.
That's it. All right, gentlemen. So
What about yourself?
It's been an interesting. Oh, and I'm
Yeah, and this
and
guy
I'm,
over
and
here.
I'm Paul Renkin. I go by Marlon Roos. I'm a guitar player in Modest Rod as well.
Yes, sir.
That's it, man. We come from like Voltron right here, Modest Entertainment, getting started. So, man, who wants to go first? Who's got something interesting to tell me about their week? You hear anything interesting on the news? Anything? What's up, Bryce? What you got, man? I know you had an interesting week. Tell me about it.
Man, it's been kind of down this week. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to pull myself out of the funk. I really felt this retrograde that hit on the 6th of this month. It's really kind of been pulling me down. So I've just been kind of pulling me down like Johnny Cash over there. He's
Johnny
like,
Cash.
Cash didn't want to be up
Johnny
there.
Cash ain't got time for this.
He just
You know what
flipped
I'm
you off
saying?
and fell off the wall,
he
man.
did. He was like, damn.
We're gonna have to
Resume.
reinforce the stickiness. It's all good. Anyways, man, the retrograde. Tell me, would you learn anything about the retrograde? What's up?
Man, just trying to get out of it, get over the funk, just come back to the resolve of, you know, what makes me feel good. You know,
That's all the
just-
way around, man. The inspiration has been in a dip this week. I know I've heard it from just about everybody here
Yeah,
that the
straight up.
inspiration has been a
Definitely.
little brutal lately. Mr. Bowman called me
Yeah.
up the other day telling me all about it. You know,
I sure did, yeah. I just woke up one day, man, and I just didn't feel it. I was late to work. I forgot things at the house, and so I was just like, man, what did Paul always say when he wasn't inspired? And so I just had to hit him up and see what he was talking about, and kind of got me out of the groove and
Right on.
started writing some more, man. But I've been out of it too, though, lately.
Chopped
Crazy.
off the tips, bro.
I know, and I think that's what it is. I think what it was, man. My
lost his
staples
power.
gone. Yeah,
No
no
more
power.
tips. Damn, lost
So-
the tips. Jesse, man, how you feeling this week, dude?
Pretty good, actually. Work's been good. Getting back into some lyric writing.
Nice.
Turned on a track the other day and just kind of let it run. Just having fun with it, you know, just kind of pacing back and forth in the room,
Yeah,
trying
best
shit
time.
out.
Keeping
But
the energy moving.
yeah, I just tried my first vlog today for the Captain Oasis page.
killing it.
I did an introduction video last week. It's not very good, but you know what? You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Where can we find this vlog at, man?
It's on YouTube at Captain Oasis.
Killing
So,
it.
That's awesome.
We got to make small steps before we can
Small
take
steps.
big leaps. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And that's the whole game right now. I know it, man. Every day. Look. I know it's hard to stay inspired with this stuff all the time, but I feel like if I do it like 5 minutes of something each day,
Something.
it leads into me doing 15.
You
If
never
I
know
do
where
15
it's gonna go.
Yeah, and sometimes you feel like you have no inspiration. You might do a little bit of something. You just put the pen to the paper or whatever, and you might be there for an hour. You know what I'm saying? You might really knock something great out. And,
Yep.
you know, at times, you know, I'll be trying to write a verse. I'll be like, I'm going to write this verse right now, and I might write one line, but if the line is good, I still got something out of it. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
might rewrite it later, but only by writing that crappy line did I get the good line later on. So it's a cumulative effect, you know.
Definitely.
So we just got to get ourselves out of the slump of the retrograde that holds us. It's the chains
all that
of
weather.
our oppressor. And the weather.
What's
yes.
been up? It's like mid-March and it's almost still winter in Arizona.
It's
Yep.
what-
We're just now getting back to it.
Hey,
man.
today was pretty good.
Today was
man.
nice.
Today was nice. Yeah. I
I'm
brought
thawing
back
a
for no
little bit.
reason.
I'm
Yeah.
thawing, exactly.
That's it, man. The grass is like coming back. It's like it was wanting to grow the whole time, and as soon as the weather let up, it just started popping out. You know what I mean? It's really coming. You guys seen all the purple and yellow
Oh, yeah.
flowers up here everywhere?
Yeah.
Man, I was driving earlier. It looked like an ocean of purple and
Psychedelia.
yellow. Yeah, it looked real psychedelic with the blue. I was like, with the blue from the sky all clear. I was like, man, I think I'm high or something right now. Been laying off the drugs and it's just still running. You know what I'm saying? They're still running.
You've been laying off the weed?
Been laying off the weed.
Man.
Yeah, I've been laying off the weed.
What's
Big step.
what was the reasoning for that?
It amplifies. For me, it amplifies where I'm at, so if I'm having kind of like an uninspired, the lack of inspiration when I smoke weed, it goes further, you know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying?
Okay.
Then I'm sitting around watching The Mummy instead of trying to play music, you know what I'm
movie,
saying?
Yeah.
But
That's a good movie.
sometimes you gotta watch the movie.
Yeah.
You gotta watch The Mummy though, you know what I'm saying? You gotta watch.
Give yourself some space, right?
Yeah, man. So what's up, man? You guys seen any good movies or anything lately? What's going on in your world, huh?
Not lately, but that Aladdin movie that's coming out looks pretty cool.
Does it look cool? They
It
got
looks pretty cool.
new trailers for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just seen Captain Marvel. That
How's
was
that?
awesome. I seen that opening day, man. It's
For
just-
real?
Yeah,
It's
man.
out?
Oh yeah, man. It was like a separate own movie. Everybody thought it would lead up into the Infinity War, but no, man. It's just a separate movie. Badass girl power. Hashtag girl power.
Feminism.
Yeah,
Feminism.
but it was a really good movie. Also, I been watching a little bit of Netflix with my girl too, and there was this other thing called An Interview with God on Netflix. That was some deep stuff. It was about a journalist who wanted to sit down with this guy who claimed that he was God, and so he sat down with him, but God was like really interviewing him because he was having a bad with his marriage and just a bunch of things, and so he was like going crazy, but in the end he understand. I really recommend watching that. It's on
Sounds
Netflix.
good.
That's
Yeah,
awesome,
Interview
man.
with God. That's
Okay.
a really good movie.
What's the one with Morgan Freeman that's on right now?
I've been watching that.
That one looks good. That was on the Discovery Channel, isn't it, or something like that?
I think it's on Netflix.
Oh, really? I
Yeah, that
gotta
one's
check
like
that out.
Discovering God or something. I've been
Oh,
watching
no, that's
that.
Story
looks
of God.
Story of
The
God.
Story
yeah.
of God. Yeah, that's really
I gotta
good,
check
man.
that out.
He
That's some
goes
deep
in.
stuff.
He travels all over the world. He talks about like really, they go to like really ancient places. I've been listening to Graham Hancock a lot lately, as I've been, telling you guys. I don't know if you know who Graham Hancock is.
No.
That's the guy who said we got our intelligence from psychedelic substances
Yeah,
like fungus and
Wow.
mushrooms.
He
and stuff,
believes
right?
that. Yeah, he believes that we developed our consciousness. Like we're initially animals, and our consciousness is like developed from taking psychedelic substances such as like mushrooms, and this guy is like he's like one of the masters of psychedelia, but at the same time he's a writer.
Wow.
And he works with like a lot of archaeologists and things like this, and he kind of pieces together a lot of ideas that would lead to the belief that there were ancient civilizations that have been written over in history. So he's really got my mind running on a lot of that type of stuff. I'm watching him on like Joe Rogan, and he's got a book called Fingerprints of the Gods. About to read that, about
Wow.
to dive in. Yeah, it's
Sounds
good,
really
man.
good.
No,
That's a good title.
you'll be convinced. I'm not joking. This guy, he sounds like just like a crazy guy, but but when you actually start watching him break down what it is that leads them to believe that there's an ancient civilization that we forgot about, about 12,000 years ago. It's very compelling, man. It's very
We're just never
compelling.
taught.
And I mean,
History was just erased.
Yeah, man.
It was just.
erased.
I mean,
Yep.
in 13,000 years, oceans rise. There's
Yep.
dramatic changes that can erase the history of our
Yeah,
planet.
definitely.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
was,
saying? So it's
I was telling you, Bryce, that I think I was telling you about that crater they found in Greenland.
yeah.
So they found, these guys years ago said, well, they believe a
They
meteor.
predicted that.
They predicted that a meteor or a comet had hit the Earth and changed its climate and ended the ice age about 12,000 years ago. 12,000 years ago, melting all of the like glaciers, causing mass floods across the world, burying cities. Like we still find civilizations that are underwater now. So, but NASA, they were all putting it off like, nah, that's not happening. There's no craters that are that young.
Satellites hit, huh?
They found a crater 2 months ago, bro, in Greenland.
That's
that was
recent.
23 miles across. It's a 23-mile wide crater and they say that crater had been hit by an asteroid anywhere from 11,000 to 100,000 years ago, but it was buried beneath a kilometer of ice, of frozen ice.
So nobody could see that before.
Yes,
yeah.
they couldn't lead it, but I saw the video
hiding.
on YouTube of how they found it, and all the comments underneath there were like, Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson were right all along. Like, so.
And they still don't want to accept it, though.
Yeah.
Mainstream science still don't want to accept. They got to go back
Yep.
and rewrite some history books if they do.
They don't want to accept it because it pretty much destroys the foundation that our entire civilization's history has been built on. So,
And
That's why-
we would freak out,
That's
We'd
why
right?
they,
freak
that's why
out.
they call them
Man, I think
theories.
we
Yeah.
could handle it, bro.
I mean, yeah.
History is
now-
the biggest lie that's been agreed upon.
Yeah, straight up, man. All day. You're absolutely right, man. And I mean everything that we do. If you're just believing what's told to you, you're just gonna turn into like another consumer.
A robot.
I feel another robot,
up.
man.
Straight up.
They just put you on a conveyor belt, crank you out at school. You know, once you get out there, you start working and then start consuming. You know, that's what they want you to do.
It's a game, and you
hate
lose when you play to consume.
That's it, man.
Start
Gotta-
getting you when you're a kid, man.
Yep.
Your mind's fresh and you just believe
Cartoons and
everybody.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Just selling Jordans to kids that are like 9 years old. They're like,
Yeah.
this is what you want. These are $120. Not
Right.
not that the $40 Nikes aren't gonna cut it, but the fresh ones are $120 though.
You can
And
jump,
they made from
you can
the
jump
same
farther,
shit.
You can run faster. You can breathe underwater. You can do it all, man.
That's it, dude.
Nikes,
Yeah.
bro.
These shoes will cook your dinner, everything, bro.
For real. Look at the advertising. You guys seen that advertisement with Shaq? I think it was Shaq or like Michael Jordan or something. I think it was Michael Jordan where he flew. He put the Nikes on. He put the Jordans on or whatever, and he started like flying. He went to shoot the basket and he just started flying or whatever. I was like, back in the 80s, man, they've been selling people that lifestyle forever. So it goes back. We just grew up with it. We were just blind to it the whole time, but nobody, you just got to learn, how to separate the consumerism and what you actually need,
That's why I always agree
I think.
with any knowledge. I believe that you shouldn't take it to heart, whether it's opinions or history or so-called facts. I
Keep
believe
an
that-
open mind, right?
Yeah. I just think that if you just take what you need from it, you can create something out of it in your own beliefs. So,
Yeah.
And it goes along with religion in my eyes too, because I don't know what anybody else believes, but when they say that there's certain religions, there was no religion before. What was is, period. So I believe that
yeah.
you take it in as much as you need to live your life happy. So that's my
Yeah,
opinion
man.
on that.
Yeah, it's all about guidelines. You can set your own guidelines for your own lifestyle. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's pretty good rules that have been laid out throughout human history. In all these religious texts. I mean, they all pretty much align and tell you to be a good person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
it's like the bottom line, man.
I
They have
mean,
their own crossroads and
they say a lot of different stuff too. I mean, you got Old Testament, New Testament. You look in the Old Testament, they're like God's evil and he's like hurting all the people. And you got New Testament, they're like he's grateful. He's the gracious one. So. I mean, there's fear of being like judged by a higher power and love for a higher power amongst all of it. So that's where things get complicated, I feel like. But
Yeah, that does complicate it for me. I find the most I feel most good when I come back to myself. Like put it all on me. Like I am the angels and the demons all at once.
Yep.
And it's
that's how we were made, man.
Exactly.
It's a balance. It's all about balance, straight up.
yeah, man.
Duality.
Yes.
Duality, yep. Yeah, it's a battle of the divines and the evils 24/7. It's the devil and the angel on your shoulders, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, if you can learn how to balance those out, or avoid the devils, they're always trying to lead you somewhere,
I don't know. There's some times where you can, you know what I mean. You got to choose sides. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're being pushed around,
Yeah.
I grew up going to high school getting kicked around because I was too nice of a guy with all the
Yep.
girls I was with the friends that I had. So there's some times where you got to have a backbone and actually be the bad guy to better yourself. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I do agree with that a little bit, but
Yeah, you got to overcome the situation a lot of the time.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
And because nobody's going to do it for you.
No,
You know what I mean? No one's going to do it for you.
But do you think that at some point you have to choose one or the other, or
That's
is
what
there
I'm- that's what I'm
does
saying.
that duality
That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes
keep
it's
going?
just- yeah, sometimes I believe that like in certain situations that you've been trying to be good this whole time and then you finally snap and you're like, okay, I'm done being taken advantage of. There's no goodness left in me as far as this situation goes.
Yeah.
I'm done being treated like this or
Yeah.
going through this, so I'm gonna be sticking to this guy for at this point. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, and that goes with like trust with people or yeah, straight up. I mean, that's just what I think about it.
Yeah, man.
But only certain things though. You don't gotta be a bad guy all the time.
I agree, man. I feel like it's important to be in touch with those, having the duality of it, I think it's
Well,
important.
nobody's happy all the time,
Well,
right?
No.
Like,
That's my point. Yeah.
nobody's sad all
Those
the time
people
either.
make you sick. They always
Yeah.
happy all the time.
Yeah,
Like, why
someone
you so happy, man?
Like what are you doing that I'm not doing?
Look, man, the oceans are full of plastic. If you're happy all the time right now, then
You're a
like
fucking
you need to come back down to earth.
Yeah.
And be like
You need
with
to go
one
to
of
the
us.
ocean
You know
and
what I'm
check this
saying?
out, yeah.
I'm not saying be depressed. I'm not saying you need to do anything crazy, but be a little upset about some stuff. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? The earth is getting hotter. And people are just like, it's not getting hotter. I don't know what you're talking about. You got rich people getting richer and richer, just putting all the greenhouse emissions in the air, just building their bank accounts, waiting for the earth to boil. And all the people who don't got money are going to be the ones that have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Us and our kids. And like, so if you always happy, you got some shit to be unhappy about, I think.
Yeah,
personally
that's another
speaking.
thing, too, is like when people, when they get stress and anxiety, like me, I know I get a lot of stress and anxiety, and I write about it, but I feel like it can also help you too, because if you're just like, oh fuck, I don't care, I'm doing my thing, I'm happy, then you're never gonna get anything done, or you're never gonna have to worry about anything. How am I gonna pay rent? I don't know. I ain't worried about it because I'm happy. You know what I mean? So I think a little bit of stress and anxiety, and sadness,
being an artist, I feel like that's kind of crucial.
Oh yeah,
a little
it's
bit.
Totally
for
different
growth,
story
right?
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you don't have anything that's on your mind or anything weighing you
What
down,
are you talking about?
like I feel like your lyrics come off a little bit more genuine when there's like something on your mind,
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's true. It's from the heart and not just made up out of the air.
Yeah, people want to hear that, man. They want to hear that duality that exists within a human being. They don't want to hear just
Constant
all the good.
struggle.
Yeah, they don't hear all constant struggle. 'Cause it's like that's depressing, and nobody wants to hear that. Because you're just gonna bring people down. But they also, I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like generally speaking, people want to hear both sides. They want to hear, they want to hear the raw, and they want to hear how you overcame and like bettered yourself. They don't want to hear, just why you're depressed.
sad story after sad story.
Yeah, sad story after sad story.
Well, I was talking about this with Gina, our vocal coach, the other day. She asked me if I was happy to be here.
Shout out to Gina.
And I said, yeah, I'm happy to be alive right now. And I went on to say that these moments, these like so-called wins that we set in our minds as like the end all be all, they're very fleeting. You know what I'm saying? They last for a very short amount of time. So I've been trying to work on myself, just enjoying the dance. Like really enjoying the progress and what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and not being in my head so damn much. It's a constant battle. So that's where I'm at.
It gets easy to take it for granted at times, man. I feel like a week ago, man, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I had to I had to check myself. You know what I'm saying? And just take a deep breath and look at what's around you and really
Be
appreciate.
grateful.
Yeah, be grateful of what you want. And the issue, for me is like I always just want to be going. I always want to be going.
stop.
And at certain times, you can't always be going. Like, what are you gonna be? How am I gonna further this right now? Things take time. It's a cumulative effect. To
Patient.
really grow everything, the music. I mean, for some people, they might just go in there and crank out a track. I'm really in touch as an artist with what I want to do, how it makes me feel. And if I'm going in there and cranking them out, I'm not worried about how I feel. I'm just worried about how other people feel, and I'm gonna
Making content.
making content. And making content is one thing, but that's part of why we would start a podcast, is because this is more realistic content for us to be creating rather than cranking out music. Because I don't know, because I know you, and I know you don't want to be cranking out half-ass content.
Yeah, definitely not.
So, and that's the trap I feel like a lot of people are getting themselves stuck into, as creators. And it's hard to push it forward if you're always just like running.
Yeah. You can't reap the same season that you sow, man.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. Sometimes you just gotta plant the seed and keep watering it.
That's it, buddy.
That's it,
Yeah.
man. That's great. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's it. That's awesome.
And what did Josh Salee say? He Josh Salee.
Josh Lee's
Oh,
a
man.
rapper from Oklahoma. You should check him out. He's
Jesse
pretty
Shout
dope.
out
song,
Josh
man.
Salee.
Yeah,
Shout out Josh
Lee.
Lee. Yeah.
He said that everybody out is putting out content nowadays,
Yep.
and but that doesn't really stand the test of time. He said, but a record, an album, something that you put your heart and soul into, that will stand the test of time.
Yep.
And it takes time to make too.
Wasn't Gina talking about that? That word, didn't that word clout get thrown out?
Oh
yeah.
Was that at Gina's? Where was that at? Where did I hear
pretty sure
this?
that was Gina, yeah.
Pretty sure that was at Gina's. But it's like, I think she said the Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch or whatever that group was. She said that group had like such big recognition, like when they were like doing their thing, back in the 80s or whenever that was, late 80s. But like nobody still listens to the Funky Bunch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they were just like, at that time they were cool, but they didn't like keep that train going of like, hey, like look at us, we're doing stuff. Like they just kind of fell off. But like people, like we were just listening to Bob Marley like 20-30 minutes ago. You know what I mean? People are probably gonna be listening to that for years. So
forever, man. Forever. We
timeless.
got Hendrix on the wall right here.
Timeless.
There's a reason
Johnny
we got
Cash.
Hendrix. There's
Timeless.
Well, Cash was on the wall, but he didn't want to be up there. So
he was giving us the middle finger.
He was giving us the middle finger the whole time. We should have taken that as a sign. So maybe, But yeah, it is making. I mean, it takes 2 to 3 years for a really successful artist to make a really good album.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't crank it out in one day. Lady Gaga makes like music, you know what I mean? Like her last album, I know you're like a fan of her.
Oh, I love it.
That's music. She went in the studio and like made an album, and she had been a songwriter for years prior to like even becoming famous. She was writing songs. Chris Stapleton, I'm like a big Chris Stapleton fan, and he said I think he said he had a vault of like 1,200 songs he's written. He's in his 30s now, and he's just now getting, and he said, well, now, like, I'm just recording these songs, I'm picking them out the vault. Just go in there and pick 10, 12 out and make an album. He can make an album every year
got a
for
bunch
the
of
next
jewels,
100
man.
years if he wanted to. You know what I mean? But he's done the work. And they can really differentiate, and he has a backing behind him because he's really accumulated all the knowledge that he's put together to create all these songs. So, I mean, that should be the ultimate goal. If the goal for you is just to, do a one and done, you're gonna put a song out and get famous.
You're doing it wrong.
Have fun playing music in your mom's basement. Or rapping in the mirror to yourself. And rappers. Come on, rappers. What we doing? We could do better than what's going on right now. I'm not trying to just call everybody out.
Bro.
I'm not just trying to call everybody out, but look, man.
Poking at the rappers.
Yeah, man. I just want to poke at the rappers because everybody's a rapper. In this valley, I know most of the like talented musicians my age. I know who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know that there's a lot of rappers that I don't want to know who they are. You know what I'm saying? Is because who you ripping off this week?
Yeah, straight up.
I mean, I don't know. I've heard so many lines, and there's not even context in a lot of what people are saying these days. It just seems like they're just talking shit on a track, and then they put a hook on there. And it just like it just runs. So like, what are you even talking about, dude? So slow down. The people need to be able to understand what you're talking about. And
I
give
feel
me
like
something
that
about
trend isn't gonna last for very much longer.
No, I don't
I feel like
think
people
so.
are starting to get
Yeah.
a little sick of it.
I do think that hip hop's gonna be around though.
No, it'll be around.
It'll definitely be around, but I really feel like people are. I don't want to say people, but I do feel like it's becoming cool to be like a lyricist again.
Yes.
Like it's almost coming back to where I really feel like the raw is really coming back with hip hop, but it's gonna have a really strange like change. It's gonna have to mesh with something.
I think there's going to be a new breed type thing with that, because you can't just go from listen to those club bangers of nothing straight to Saba, you know what I mean, going completely conscious. Like I think there's going to be
I got angels on the way.
Yeah, I love Saba,
I got
Demons hunting me. I know Pac was 25. I know Jesus 33.
All right. But anyway, that's some good stuff, but I think that people are already on that right now, because the people that stayed back, it's like everybody else just got on the train and went to mumble rap land, you know what I mean? But I think when they come back, it's going to take a while for them to really develop their thought process and to naturally liking this music that we normally
When they're
like.
ready,
But
man, we'll take them to the golden age.
so I think there's going to have to be a blend of music, or a blend of the genre of from between the mumble rap and the consciousness, whether
Yeah.
it be the instrumental or whatever in the lyrics or. But that's what I think.
The instrumental, I feel like, is the part that's going to be really key moving forward. I mean, personally
'Cause
speaking,
that's what people listen to, man.
I mean, look, man, we're in a new age of music now. It's not about your level of success isn't defined by you being on top 40. It's not. You can be a successful artist and nobody in your hometown knows who you are. And you can go on tour and you can fill venues of 500 people and make a decent living that way, selling merchandise, selling, whatever it is you got to sell. You know what I mean? Your music doesn't really make a lot of money. You might make some money off streams. A million streams equals out to, I think they said like $8,000. When you get that $8,000 split it up between your publisher and yourself, you're going to be left with a couple grand. So like you'd have to have a lot of music being consumed through streaming services to make a lot of money. But, it really seems like people are more consuming around the artists themselves to support them. I was reading that some artists are making most of their money off like Patreon now, like donations.
Patreon's big.
Patreon's getting big, so that's it's one medium to be going through, but you need to focus on your music and being more of like a standout artist.
Well, I don't
today,
think Mac Miller was actually respected by the industry until he started producing his own music, and really like getting more instrumental and playing piano and guitar.
Learning to sing
Yep.
and all of that, yeah.
But hey, man, he was on the long climb for a long time. You know what I mean? He just kept going, and he didn't let anybody stop him with that. They were just like, "Oh, you're just another white rapper." Well, like, there's a lot of white rappers now, and some of them are really good, and they're making their way out here. And that's been the case for the last 10 years.
And they sound different too.
But look, man, for him to find his biggest success, which his last 2 albums, obviously put him on the map more so where people like could really see where he was at. You know what I mean? I feel like I didn't even hear, like, I heard of Mac Miller and I heard some of his songs, but it didn't really resonate with me personally. Being somebody who's like more musical until I heard the Divine Feminine. Yeah, because that album, I feel like he had to do that climb to be able to create that album. You may have to make 5 okay albums or 5 catering to your fan base, like, and not really catering, not that he was catering, but he was creating music, but he expanded and grew into the person he needed to be to make that album.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So it's not about a sprint. Everybody's trying to sprint right now. Check out my new single, man. It's dropping tomorrow at 7 p.m. Check me out. I don't care. Don't tag me on Facebook. Give me something of quality and give me some value that's gonna better my day when I listen to it or watch it, whatever it may be. If you focus on that and you make good music and you just focus on making the best thing you can make, true to yourself, you will have a career in this. But you do need to understand that there would be a lot of work to put into place. That it's a business, man. It's your business. It's not, you don't just make music and you blow up and people take care of everything for you. This is a business.
And you're gonna get knocked down too. You're gonna get knocked down and kicked around and stuff, and you just gotta keep getting back up. Because once you give up, once you give in, man, it's over.
Yeah.
There's no going back.
Make noise, you fall off.
Yeah.
But hey, man, every time you feel like you're about to give up, like I said, usually you got one of your biggest success right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
So if you just give up, man, and you'll never know. It's like that story about the guy digging for the gold, man. This book.
Yeah, I seen a picture like that.
I think I always talk about this book, but Think and Grow Rich is a story in there about these guys who go out and they're digging gold, and they find this gold vein, right, but they can't dig it up, so they go and buy this big machine to go dig the gold up. Right?
Round up money from their family, their neighbors, everybody.
They think they're gonna get rich. They're like, there's millions of dollars worth of gold out here, so they get this big machine to go scoop up all this gold. These guys go back out there and spend about a week looking for this gold, digging hole after hole after hole after hole, and they don't find it. Right?
Guess who came back?
Clear a whole area out, spending all this time. Well, once they're done spending all that time, they just gave up, and they're like, well, we might as well get our money back, get some kind of return on this, and give it back to our family. Well, they go ahead and sell the thing off. The guy who they sold the machine to, they find out, they're like, well, they were digging for gold out in this area because they felt like something was there. So that guy just hires a guy who understands how fault lines work and says, hey, man, come out here and give me a hand at this. The guy goes out there and takes a look. He said, look, He said they stopped right here. He said, but it should be right over there. It was 3 feet away from where they stopped. 3 feet. If they would have kept going 3 feet, they would have dug down there and found millions of dollars worth of gold. But they succumbed to the demons. The demons telling them that it wasn't worth their time. And they just gave up. You know, I felt like I had that. You know, I read that in the book, and I was having a real terrible time writing this song. And as soon as I read that, I went into the studio and I ended up writing the rest of the song. I finished the whole song in a matter of like 2 hours after that. Just
that inspiration you got from that.
That was that 3 feet, man.
It's what you need. Yeah, it's the 3 feet, man. That's it. I was just self-caring in there. I was taking a bath, and that came on. I was like, I gotta go get in the studio, and it happened. You know what I mean? So don't let the 3 feet scare you, because a lot of people let that 3 foot of space scare them. You know?
Yep.
Yeah. I think the camera.
We about time for an intermission here.
About to take an intermission, guys. We'll be back in about 5.
Peace.
Late.
We're back from the intermission.
Hold up. We need to wait for Jesse to sit down.
He's here. Hey.
What's happening?
What's happening,
world?
Jesse?
All right,
back.
we back up in it. Okay, so we're gonna do the second half of this podcast right now. We're gonna have a little bit of guided conversation here. So, man, I want to know who's inspiring y'all right now. Who you inspired by? Let's start with Jesse. You inspired by any artist right now? Who? Just anybody. It could be a director. It could be a music artist. Anybody.
So the person that I've probably been most inspired by is not actually a musician. He's more of a YouTube creator, like a content creator. Goes by Peter McKinnon.
Awesome guy.
Yeah, shout out to Peter McKinnon.
He's dope.
Makes some super cool vlogs. Been learning a lot from that guy. Just going forward with the Captain Oasis thing. But yeah.
Right on.
That's tight. Yeah, check out Captain Oasis, man. He's gonna be getting rolling here pretty quick, and it's gonna be dope. Does
this seem quieter to you guys?
No.
No, it doesn't seem quiet.
Solid.
All right. Let's go with James. James,
he's
man,
jumping in.
because I know Bryce got someone to talk about, so we're gonna give him a moment. Who you inspired by right now, James? Tell me about it.
I've been listening to a guy that I don't know if a lot of people know him, but it's by KRS-One, and everybody should know him because they do know him. I didn't give him as much credit as he deserved, and I did not just because I didn't think of anything of him. It's just I didn't think of him, period, until someone mentioned him to me. Mr. Marlon Maroos. What is that?
Marlon Maroos.
Marlon
I was thinking of Maroon. Anyways, so I've been listening to KRS-One.
What song by KRS-One?
The hip hop knowledge, man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, just blew my mind, and how the all different thing. He basically just boxed up hip hop and put it in, and he could have done that at the end. What he did it at the end of the song. He explained his life with the hip hop and throughout the years, but at the end, someone asked him about the difference between hip hop and rap, and how hip hop is something you live and rap is what you do, and he just broke it down. Yeah, it just blew my mind and totally inspired me to just live in hip hop as a culture instead of, just breathing it out. You know what I'm saying? Breathing it in and breathing it out and rapping.
Lifestyle.
So definitely.
You are what you rap. You know.
Definitely. So that inspired me. KRS-One.
He's from the start, man. He's from the start. We went and saw him.
DMC right around that time.
We seen him up in Flag. The three of us went up and saw him.
was tight.
I'm jealous. I'm like, fuck, I wish I was there.
Came down off stage. There's just a circle of people around him.
Yep.
He was freestyling, I'm pretty sure. I mean,
Yep.
They set him up
He
with
was
a
hip hop, man.
Yeah. Just cut the beat, and he was just still going off a cappella.
Very raw, man. Like
It was a terrible sound system in that place. He still pulled it off, man.
Look, man, there's a lot of artists out there that they can't get on a stage unless they know what they're gonna say. You know, they gotta know all the lyrics on the. They got have the beat playing. If the beat have an issue, this man did not need any of that. It was the whole stage was falling apart. Everything he was doing, the whole thing's falling apart, and he commanded that show. He made it.
Kept it together.
I've never seen an MC run a show like he ran.
Yeah.
Never. I don't think there's anybody out there that can rock a show of that size like KRS-One like that, with that much going wrong. Never seen anybody pull it together like that. Usually when something goes wrong like that, it just goes wrong.
Over, yeah.
It's over. It's downhill. But he just screaming at the sound guy. Everybody's like, "Fuck the sound guy." Rolling, didn't care at all.
He said that too that night. Hip hop is something you live. He said that on stage. I heard him.
No, he was preaching knowledge up there, wasn't he? Preaching knowledge to the people. He said, "Let me tell you. I'm gonna take you back to the origins of this all." He started telling everybody who didn't know.
That's what I'm saying, man. Because it's like it's back to the basics kind of thing, and that's like I feel like, and he's still relevant, and that's way fucking cool. And so he's like almost like one of the foundations, one of the legs to the table. You know what I'm saying? That we could just build our building blocks on top of it. So that totally
teach a KRS1 on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
That's it. Mr. Beasley, I know you got something to talk about right now. Dancing Stone.
Yeah, so I've been on Instagram lately, kind of connecting with people here and there, and I found this one guy out in L.A. His name's David Sebastian. He formed this society called the Anti-Society. This dude's dope, man. He threw a show on a subway train. Just announced on social media that he's throwing a show on a subway. Everybody showed up. They called the cops on him. No arrests were made at all. They had the helicopters out there. He did that shit, man. He also was he's a graffiti artist too, on top of being a musician.
Hip hop.
So he does a lot of political graffiti and stuff. Like he did this one about it was called the Future is Female, and all these women are like holding up a decapitated Donald Trump head. And so he's really revolutionary, just like on the front lines. He just had a burn Gucci party. I don't know if you know about what's going on with Gucci right now with them doing the blackface thing on their clothes.
Yeah, a sweater that looked like blackface pretty much. And and David, he's burning the Gucci on. He's burning it on Instagram. He's got other people that he's reposting their stuff of them burning, lighting Gucci on fire. And you remember that there was a video of him inside the convenience store where he starts talking about reading books, like pretty much fuck them Jordans.
Buying them Jordans,
yeah. Don't be buying them Jordans. Buy them books. Feed your mind. Like he just gets in it and is really there to support the black community and the culture. Like growing instead of feeding the corporate machine of of these Italian designers who they sell. The image to all the people, sell it to the people in these black communities, and they're not like investing any money back into them.
Exactly.
Yeah, revolutionary. He's like a revolutionary artist to look out for. What's his name again? David
Sebastian.
David Sebastian.
David Sebastian Anti on Instagram.
Yeah, he's really
based in L.A.
Yeah, based in L.A.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, he's really one to listen to. Man, I ain't got too many artists or anything I'm inspired by lately. I've been real inspired by Chris Cornell, but that's more on like a vocal level. But Graham Hancock, man, Graham Hancock got me running. You know what I mean? I'm just on the ancient civilization type of thing, man. He was like talking about like pretty much how in all traces of life they talk about how there was of human life. They have like texts that go back saying that there was a great flood that covered like the great flood, Noah's Ark and all that. There's like evidence that a giant flood had happened across North America due to like climate change about 12,000 years ago from like a comet impact on the earth. And it's like very compelling, it's really compelling. I would look that up too. I mean, it's really awesome. But they were pretty much saying that Native American history is like really wiped out because North America was just wiped out by a flood that was like 1,000-foot tall flood of water that just came across North America pretty much and just leveled it out.
Why couldn't that have happened and erased our entire history? We're just stuck with the last 3,000 years.
Well, you got to think though. I mean, you think that when the Europeans came over here to the Americas, they had the Mayan civilizations down south. You go to South America, they got all these big pyramids, Mayan civilization. There were people there, but why is it in North America? Seems like it wasn't really the same thing. You know what I mean? You had Native American people when they were more like nomadic, moving around, but they didn't have pyramids. They didn't settle in like one place and have time to build these giant pyramids and structures. They may have,
As far as we know, they didn't.
As far as we know, yeah. But I mean, if you look at, they were given geographical evidence of how how a giant flood definitely could have happened and knocked off. It's really, man, you got to watch. You got to see them talk about it. It's really interesting. But
where were you watching this at?
I was watching on Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, okay.
Joe Rogan podcast. They even believe.
Shout out Joe Rogan.
Yeah, shout out Joe Rogan, man. That he's putting it together, But I've listened to he's done 2 with them, and they got a 3rd one where they have this other guy, Michael Schumer, comes on and he debates them, and I'm gonna watch that one next because I'm all convinced that Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson know what they're talking about, and there's ancient human civilizations that have been wiped out by a comet impact on Earth or a meteor impact on Earth, changing our climate. So that's really interesting. But yeah, I'm about to listen to the rebuttal. You know what I'm saying. You got
the other side. Yeah,
you got to hear the other side.
You got to keep your mind open and take what you can from each individual.
That's it, man.
Yeah,
that's it. So you got to know. So I gotta do justice to the 3rd one, even though I might not want to hear what that guy's say because they already convinced me. But probably learn something else from it. So.
And then you're gonna be confused. You'd be like, I don't even know what to think anymore because he probably got some good points too,
Yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan sits there looking like really convinced by these guys too, and that guy, he's done so many podcasts with like scientists.
Yeah, and he's pretty smart too. So
yeah, he's met a lot of really interesting people with a lot of accumulative knowledge, So he's built it up. But yeah, man. So we've got a couple other questions here. So what do you guys think? What's your favorite movies that have to do with music? We got a couple that just came out that were pretty popular: Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star Is Born. Who wants to go first, man?
Star Is Born, the best music movie out right now for the time being.
Tell me why.
That movie is innovative and inspiring because it shows how quick success can come and how long success might be able to take. Now, it can inspire you to want to never give up and do things. But also, what I really enjoyed about it was because I'm a big Lady Gaga fan and how it showed kind of her story behind the scenes. Because that wasn't her real story, of course. But she, being the female artist that she is, they said, well, you're pretty. We're going to dress you up like this and make you sing this way. Well, she did it in her own way. And that's what this movie kind of does. And then she kind of branched out and did her own thing. So that for that reason, I think it's really cool. Also, from the fact of the differences in music between the male artist and the female artist, how they both still came together, just shows you no matter what music is, you could still come together as one. In that beautiful songs that they made, that album. So
yeah, she really.
It's definitely a good movie.
Beautiful.
When she was doing her pop thing. Because now she's not really doing as much of that. But when she was doing that, it was more of a reaction. Because she was wild, wearing meat dresses and like just doing all the weird stuff that Lady Gaga. Like you got, what I mean. You see Lady Gaga a certain way.
That's what you think of
She's like pop Marilyn Manson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like acceptable.
That's a good way to.
Yeah,
I can't even think
well,
of
I
a better way
mean,
to say that, yeah.
you got to understand, like, her, Marilyn Manson, like, these guys who are, like, pretty crazy like that, they're usually, like, really inspired by David Bowie, and David Bowie was, like, a really weird guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel like I can directly hear it in their music, but she like, really didn't want to play the game that she got sucked into. She was a songwriter prior to that, and they wanted to dress her up,
Mm-hmm.
like in the movie, they want to dress her up like a character.
Yep.
And she was like, well, I'm going to dress up like a character, but I'm just going to do it in
fictional character.
I'm going to do it in the way you don't want to see me,
Yeah.
is the way she did it,
Be a
So
dragon.
she really just took it to a really weird level and had a lot of success with it. So what's your favorite movie, Bryce? What's your favorite music movie?
Favorite music movie? I hate musicals, man. Let me tell you. My sister, The Sound of Music was her favorite movie growing up, and she watched it repetitively, and I think it just left a bad taste in my mouth of musicals. So
Music movies.
I like Grease. I mean, I'm not gonna hate on Grease. I like that,
Just sticking with Grease, huh?
That's all I got, man.
Why you like Grease so much? I never even seen Grease.
John Travolta.
Yeah, John. That's all you gotta say.
Yeah.
John Travolta, man.
Crazy.
Nah,
energy. Sorry, go ahead. He had a lot of energy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just it's Grease. You never seen Grease? For
You don't
real?
like Hustle? You don't like Hustle and Flow more than Grease?
That's not a musical, though.
It don't got to be a musical. It's a music movie.
Yeah, it's music based.
Oh, okay. Hustle and Flow's dope. Yeah, I didn't know. I thought we were talking about
That's
musicals
what I was gonna
here.
say.
Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow is pretty dope, man.
Work that trick. Get him.
Yeah, the part where they pull the white guy in who starts producing.
Oh yeah, he's all nerdy.
Yeah.
He's the new guy. He played in the new guy.
Yeah, he's actually
Yeah.
a producer in real life.
Oh, I
That's
didn't know
DJ. What's his name? DJ Skurs or
Qualls
something?
or
Squalls. Yeah, DJ
Really?
Squalls.
Get out of here.
Yeah, no, he
Oh, I gotta
he
check it out.
I
taught
didn't know
DJ
that.
Paul how to produce.
That's crazy.
Dude, that's where 3 6 Mafia got their sound from. Was
Really?
DJ Squalls. Yeah.
From that guy?
Yeah, I'm
From
dead
that
ass.
squirrely looking guy?
Yeah, dude.
You gotta
For
watch the
real?
new guy.
Yeah.
You gotta
Wow.
watch the
DJ
new guy, bro.
Squalls.
That's a
Did
good
not know that. I thought he was just an actor because he's in that movie like what's it called? You guys know that one where he's in like high school? Or
The new guy.
The new
The
guy.
new guy.
That's the
That's
third
it.
time I said it. Bro. I'm
Oh,
saying it
okay,
over
yeah,
here.
he's the
But
guy
when you
from-
watch it, when you watch it, you're gonna think of me because he had the bleach tips, bro. He looked just
Yeah.
like me. He was walking down like a butt nose. You know what I mean?
That was a good look.
Bro, you got it.
That was it.
I'll show you later, bro.
Your character.
Let me see the
there,
look
man.
at his
Oh,
one more
I'll show
time.
you later, bro.
Oh man,
Or
got
you, or you
it.
gotta like the whoosh. You know what I mean? Whoosh.
Yeah.
You gotta watch
Yeah.
that movie, bro.
That's your movie too, Jesse. Hustle and Flow.
That's what I was gonna say, just because I couldn't really think of anything else. I'm sure there's probably something else.
Yeah,
Richard died trying.
But
yeah.
I never saw that.
It's alright.
Bro. Notorious B.I.G. bro.
Is that
That's a
one good?
I don't think I ever watched that either.
Oh my god, I'm about to have a heart attack. You guys never seen? Okay, yeah, just
Nah,
watch it.
man.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I seen A
I
Star
can't
Is
believe
Born,
you,
though.
bro. You guys seen 8 Mile though, right?
I seen 8 Mile. Yeah.
I seen 8 Mile.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Everybody's seen 8 Mile.
Notorious B.I.G. bro.
Straight
To be
Outta
honest
Compton
with
was
you-
good.
Straight Outta Compton was good.
I
But to
didn't
be
see
honest
that
with you,
either.
the only way that
Really?
I knew the true history of Notorious B.I.G. was because I wasn't really inspired about it a long time ago. But when I watched that movie, it made me want to dive right in because it basically laid it all out, you know, in a storyline in a movie form, so I can understand it more on how hip hop was back then.
Yeah.
Besides all the controversy of who shot who and who killed who.
Did you listen to Biggie before you watched the movie, or
No.
Are you saying you don't?
Well, yeah, I've heard a couple songs about it, but I just thought he was just a rapper. But when I seen that movie, I'm like, it was like, because I felt you see his mom, you see how he grew up and how he got this girl pregnant and how music changed him and he cheated on it. You just gotta watch the movie. It's just blowing me away right now. That you guys
What's it
haven't seen
called? It's just called Notorious B.I.G.
Straight up, yeah. It's just like Tupac's movie. You know what I'm saying? The Tupac's movie.
It's pretty old, right? I mean,
It's
it
like,
didn't come out like a year or two ago.
2001, I think.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
around there, I think.
I'm familiar with it, but I've never watched it.
Bro, yeah,
but I
that's.
know what you're talking about.
It's crazy, bro. I mean, you really got to see it. It's got the guy that it's actually funny. The guy who plays Tupac in that movie is the guy that goes up against Eminem in 8 Mile.
Really?
Yeah, and he's the actor that's play. He also plays Falcon in Avengers. But
Didn't they make a
anyways,
Tupac movie recently too?
They did.
He's seen all the music movies,
Yeah,
man.
no, I-
He's
no,
seen
no,
all of them.
No, I haven't seen that one yet because it was in theaters and I just didn't see it. But
All Eyes on Me?
Oh, I was just about to say. You beat me to
Yeah,
it. All Eyes
that's-
on Me. I heard it was a really good movie.
All
That's
eyes
it.
on me.
It was just like All Eyes on Me, and then it was straight out of Compton. You know what I mean? And then they're just coming out with the woodworks, and it's awesome, man. Because I didn't know as much. I
Woodworks.
didn't know that Ice Cube, was writing everybody's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like that blew me away when I watched Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
I've seen that.
That was great.
Oh man.
Well,
I
there's
feel
a spoiler.
terrible.
There's a spoiler alert. Ice Cube wrote all their guys' stuff pretty much. So that's the spoiler. But anyways,
Man.
it just teaches little things like that, and it's just really cool. So.
But I mean,
yeah,
okay, but it teaches you little things, but how much of that is real? Because
well,
because
it's
look,
all Hollywood too.
look,
but
man.
Yeah,
they
tell
get
them about
certain
Bohemian
things-
Rhapsody.
look,
Oh,
man.
gosh,
let me tell you,
man.
Bohemian Rhapsody is
Man,
some,
y'all haters,
look.
bro.
It was a good movie if you need to get people to want to like Queen or want to listen to Queen. You know what I'm saying? Probably did really good for their like sales. I'm sure Queen had a big old boost as far as how much
T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
the T-shirt sales
Yeah,
are definitely
yeah.
through the roof. All that, but that was not accurate. It was not accurate at all. Look it up, man. His band members did not know. I mean, they may have thought he was gay, but they didn't know he was gay. And in that movie, he's got a little guy. He's like, you and your pet. I'm not gonna put you and your pet, Freddie. That's not how it was. That's a lie. That's all a lie. So don't believe what Hollywood tells you, kids. But let me tell you, I liked that Star Is Born though, man.
Man,
That was
it's
an
a good-ass
emotional movie.
It
cried
was.
at that.
I
fucking
cried 3
man.
times in that movie.
Oh,
Wow.
I cried
The-
once, but it was a really, really good movie.
The last scene, the very
That's
last
what got
scene
me.
of the movie,
That's what
man.
got me.
My girl and I were sitting there, we're both crying. I cried. Okay, I cried through Coco also. I tell you, Coco.
That
It's a
was
good movie too.
that's a good movie.
That's
a
a
good
good mo-
musical movie.
That's
right
a good
there.
musical movie. But A Star Is Born touched me in like a very certain place. You know what I mean? It's like an artist with the dark past. You know what I mean? And it, like, you know, he's like trying to avoid it the whole time. Like, it's, you know, that very last scene between the two of them. You know, I'm sitting there, my girl's sitting there. It's just silent in the room. We're just watching the movie. You know, when you're just so like pulled into the movie, it leads up to this one point. That last scene of the movie, man. As soon as that hit, I don't want to give it away, you know, because I don't know if everybody here's seen it. I know you've seen it and you've seen it, but as soon as that screen went black. I lost it, and she lost it. We're hugging, crying. Yeah, it was just
downloaded the album on Spotify.
The album's good too.
Yeah, man.
The album's good too.
I heard a couple songs on it before I watched the movie, and then I downloaded the certain songs, and then after that movie, I was like, I want all of it.
Yo, they filmed that movie at like part of that movie. Some of those live scenes, they filmed them at like Coachella and shit.
It looked like it was some of them. It was in Arizona.
It looked like some of them were kind of fake in the movie, but like apparently they actually recorded those live. They like asked Willie Nelson to step in for 15 minutes of his set, and like Bradley Cooper like went up there and just like started singing this song in front of all these people. It's a real crowd. There's a real crowd out there.
I
Yeah.
did not know that. Was there a documentary on it that I didn't know about? Because I want to know about
It's at the end of the movie. You watch the movie, and at the tail end of it, there's like a little documentary series. But Bradley Cooper.
I gotta rent it again.
Bradley Cooper didn't sing. He didn't like play. I think he might have played guitar a little bit. He didn't shred. He wasn't shredding in that movie, I don't think, on the guitar. But he like took 6 months of singing classes, like 5 days a week, like 8 hours a day, to be able to sing in that movie on par with Lady Gaga. Now, you can't sing on par with Lady Gaga because she's Lady Gaga. She's a full-time musician. But Bradley Cooper, I feel like, did a good job for what he was doing.
Coming from Hangover straight to the big stage, man.
Yeah, man.
He's a teacher.
He's leveling up.
Yeah, man.
He's leveling up.
I think that definitely changed him. I bet you people out there too are probably like, man, I gotta get him in the studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but think about it though. Think of how much like learning he had to do to get to that point to be able to play that role in the movie. Like 6 months, 6 months. Like you could be like, oh, it's just like 6 months, like to be in a movie, but it still takes like 2 years to make a movie. You know what I mean? It takes 2 years. So he had to do all that prior to get with her. And he directed the movie and played one of the main characters in it, and had like a very, you know.
He directed it too.
Directed the movie.
And recorded
Killing
the
it.
album too.
Yeah, you know, shooting for the stars there. You know, definitely shooting for the stars. But
and she got her Oscar for it too in that movie.
Yeah, killing it. But cool, man. So we were talking about this education system earlier. You know, we were talking about that earlier about how we all feel about the education system growing up. James, you were talking about how you read pages. I was talking about how I read the books, and it's hard for the mind to keep up with the page. I've been reading the audio books, you know what I mean? So I would suggest Audible to anybody. It's not a plug. We ain't that big yet, but we get there. You know what I'm saying? But been reading the books through Audible, and I feel like personally the need for knowledge or what it does for you, how good it is for your brain to stimulate it even when you're in your 20s, it was never really instilled into me. You know, one thing that they do say is that rich people read books. They're always reading books. Successful people, billionaires, they're always reading. They always need more knowledge. You never know
enough.
You never know when it's going to fuel into something that you're doing. That being said, I hated reading growing up, and I know that, you know, you guys probably did too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was like I was telling you guys, my mom used to read me AR books because I didn't like to read. I couldn't concentrate. Just like you were saying, James, like you read the whole paragraph and have to go back and read it again.
Just wasting time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like I could get the information in more if I just heard it being presented to me. So I like Audible too.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the information that they were teaching us though in school was really irrelevant. You know, so what, you know, now that we're older, you know, trigonometry has never come into use in my daily life one time. It's never, you know, when do you need trigonometry? Explain that to me. But I know that doing my taxes, I don't know how to do that. You know what I mean? I don't know how to, you know, they didn't teach you how to buy a house. They don't teach you how to buy cars. They don't teach you credit. They don't teach you credit.
Big thing. Everything's based on credit in the United States of America. I mean, you can't live without it. You can't get big things. You can't expect to get a big house without established credit. Yeah. And they don't teach you that stuff either, or how to get out of it, or get better.
They teach you like the keyword definition of credit.
Yep. That's it, man. What is it?
Here, find this in the book and write this
Exchange.
down on a piece of paper. Turn it
Yep.
in for 10 points.
Yep, nothing, not a lot of useful information there. So personally, I think that at this point in our lives, when in our 20s, I know it's not cool to be like, you should keep your head in the books. You know what I mean? When you're in your 20s, you got other things to be doing. 20s, 30s, you could be doing anything. You know what I mean? You go to work and you got to come home and you just want to watch Netflix and chill with your girl or whatever. But you can dedicate a little bit of time to your brain and really stimulate that with some new information. That'll save you 5 years.
Yes.
You're always on the chase for things, and you don't have the information to really do it because it wasn't given to you. Because when you're in school, I feel like they're just really trying to like ship you out as just another producer in our society, a producer and consumer. Go out there, do your job, make this money, buy this shit that you don't need to fill your house with all these little knickknacks of things that aren't actually benefiting your life, not taking you anywhere. And these days, it feels like they really got a really big grip on people with advertising. Everything. Tell
All
me,
up in your face.
everything,
Everywhere,
dude.
man.
Yeah.
You can't watch a video online without a
Yep.
freaking advertisement popping
On
up.
Facebook, I used to watch Facebook videos. I get sucked in just like YouTube. And I was into a 10-minute video of a video on Facebook. I was 5 minutes into it, and they put an ad up there. And I said, when did Facebook get ads on their videos? And that's a perfect example, I feel. They're just adding them to any video.
It's so bad. I'll be watching a video and an ad will pop up and I'll just skip the video. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, later.
Well, see, they're advertising stuff to you that a lot of the times people can't afford too. They can't afford this shit. They're trying to. They want people to live above their means for sure. And the way they do that is they're like
above their means.
Yeah, above their means. So I make, for example, if you make $2,000 a month, they want you spending $2,500 a month.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They
Keep you under their
keep
foot.
keep you right under where it's at. It's just like where you hit. Remember when we were looking at that tax statistic at one point where it was like as soon as you hit, it was $38,700. So you pay, I think it was 10% until, it might be 15% until of your total earnings for the year in taxes to the federal government until you hit $38,701. When you hit $38,701, it goes to 25%. Trap you in the bot. They don't want the middle class. They don't want you hitting the middle class. You're gonna take 10%. 10% of your earnings is a lot. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money when you consider, how much of you probably got to pay 10% of what you make just towards rent, 20%, 30% towards your rent. People are paying these astronomical numbers out of what they make, paying people, $10, $12 an hour across the country, and making them pay $1,200 in rent to have their family there. I'm not saying that that's not. That it is unreasonable. I believe personally. What do you think? You guys think people are a little underpaid in this country?
I think we're overtaxed in the middle class. I mean,
Yeah.
I went and saw an accountant in Flagstaff, and he was trying to take a fifth of my money that I earned. He wanted me to pay that back in taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you supposed to get ahead? I mean, a
Yeah.
fifth of my money is what I had saved for the entire year. How are you supposed to get up?
Yep.
They just want to keep you down.
Push you right back to where you started. It's pretty much where it's at. So it's yeah, man, it's a weird world we live in right now, but they don't really teach you this either. We weren't taught about these taxes in school. I think it always goes back full circle to when it matters the most to teach people what they need to know, you don't teach them. And if you don't teach them, you can turn them into exactly what you want them to be.
Yeah.
You got corporations. It's legal for corporations to be, paying lobbying in our government.
That's ridiculous, man.
Explain that.
You told me about. You explained it. You explained it well. Yeah.
Look, man, the fact that you can pay people, you can
about
donate to campaigns through, supplying money to these politicians, helping their campaigns grow, and you could be you could be working for the oil industry, which is destroying our fucking planet in the first place. Disagree with me if you want, but scientific evidence shows that we are destroying our planet by greenhouse gas
No
emissions.
disagreements here.
It's
There's
fossil
no
fuels, man. You can't recreate fossil fuels. That's from the earth, and you can't recreate it. That's
Look, man, we're digging a big old hole inside of our atmosphere above the Arctic, and when those sea levels rise, we're gonna be putting it's gonna spin out of control. The United Nations had all their scientists come together, and they said that climate change is to the point where it's about irreversible now. We can't do anything to fix it. Only thing we can do is try and stop it. And you know what I saw last week? I thought it was pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure it was on Friday. It might have been this week. I don't know. It could have been yesterday. I'm not even sure these days anymore. But there was
Wow.
there have been kids who were in school, and they've been hopping out of school, just popping out. They popped out on Friday. I really think it was Friday, but they popped out on Friday. It was in like all over the world, man. But it was like in London and New York City. All these kids skipped school to go protest in the streets about politicians all over the world not doing anything to stop climate change. This is the world that these kids are growing up. This is the Gen X kids. The Gen X kids, you can't really fool them the same way. You can't fool millennials the same way you can fool the generation, before us. I feel like, we're all millennials here, or just about. We're on that edge in between the two, But yeah, you can't really fool us the same way you could fool our parents. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, the education thing, I think we could all be doing our best to really just do better, recycle, you know what I mean? Try and drive less, carpool if we can.
Stop eating fast food, Netflixing and chilling, man. Go out and do something. Cook some dinner for yourself. Put some love into it.
Put some love into it and
Go on a hike.
Yeah, go on a hike.
Yep. Meat consumption, by the way, that's the most devastating thing. Too much
Meat consumption.
Yeah, meat consumption. People eat in America, they eat meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All those animals got to come from somewhere, right? You know what I'm saying?
And then we're feeding them. What do we feed them? We're feeding them our trees. Do we breed?
It takes a lot of water, man. It takes a lot of water. It takes a lot of resources to grow a cow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It don't take as much resources to grow fruits and vegetables. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to become a vegetarian anytime soon, but I've been trying to be mindful about how much meat I'm consuming because I feel like it's just an astronomical amount of meat we can be really as a collective society. You know what I mean? How much we can really be eating, and it takes a lot of resources to make these things. So, you got a lot of people these days going vegetarian and vegan and all that, and that's probably a good thing. So people hating on that, saying that you don't want to eat meat. It's probably good that you got people doing that. It's for the better of the planet.
It's balance, right?
Balancing it out. Yeah, it takes a lot.
But if I want a steak, I'm going to go eat a steak. You know what I'm saying?
By all means.
If I'm craving one, I'm going to go eat one.
Go eat a steak if you need a steak. Check it out, but you don't eat steak every night.
Yeah.
You don't eat bacon every morning.
Well, probably not good for you to eat steak.
It's not
every
good
night.
for you every morning.
Well, that's why I would eat McDonald's, because I don't really consider their burgers like real meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're
It's
human,
processed.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
They're made with humans.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
Over 1 billion killed.
Alleged.
population control, man. I'm just kidding. I'm not
Population.
Getting on that topic.
No,
That's
no.
for the next podcast.
That's for the next one.
But look,
tuned.
man,
Stay
we could be instilling all this stuff into the next generation, but they're still going by the old practices. They don't fund education. They got old books. You know what I mean?
How about the propulsion, though, bro? How about how we launch our rockets into space?
Man.
We're still using
Yeah.
propulsion. Y'all know that 0-point technology is out. Like
I
zero
don't know
gravity.
that. Yo.
Y'all know that they got access.
Everything's out, but they ain't gonna give it to us.
I'm putting
This
the
is
rockets.
a good segue to the aliens right here.
Look, man, I'm putting the rockets in Elon's hands. Elon knows more about rockets than I'll ever know, so just gonna leave it at that.
He probably knows more about aliens than I'll ever know, too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about aliens, to tell you the truth.
Aren't
It's
we
just
aliens,
all speculation.
Bro? We're aliens too.
We're
to
mad
somewhere.
aliens.
We're,
I mean, are we?
we're aliens to something, man. I mean, think
I
about it. There's
mean-
probably somebody out there on Earth number 2, you can call it, in a different universe. Like, I wonder if there's people like us out there. Like, if there's aliens. We're
I got
aliens too,
something.
man. And when we make it outside there, we're probably gonna invade another Earth, and we're gonna be the aliens, and they're gonna be like, "Whoa, they're gonna here to kill us, but we just want to live because we're all out of meat, and we have to eat McDonald's burgers."
Wouldn't you consider the fact?
You know what I'm saying?
I like where you took that.
Bro, I'm telling you, man.
Would you
that's-
consider the fact that we're already aliens
That's what
on
I'm
this
saying.
planet? We're an
Oh,
invasive.
don't-
Some kind of
Look,
DNA in there.
Look,
right?
man.
Oh, that's
Look,
oh,
when you
man.
take an invasive species and you put that inside of its If you put it in the wrong habitat, it screws up the entire ecosystem.
Bro.
We have destroyed this planet at this point. Would you consider the fact that maybe we are in the wrong ecosystem?
That's a good point. What if and this might go back on your thing, and I'm just open thinking, but that crater you were talking about that created those tsunamis in the water that took away the history, what if that was really just a ball of that something inside of that crater, and that we just hatched out of that egg and we became the new civilization? That could be a possibility, but we won't know that.
Well, I mean,
they got off the books, but
they found human remains that date back like 200,000 years. So we've been here for a minute. You know, they know the lineage. I
think we just got too damn smart for our own good. We got away from the jungles and the animals, and we just kept it going and got too damn smart for our own good. I like how Alan Watts puts it.
Yeah.
He looks at it from an alien's perspective. So say there's like an alien chilling in our orbit, and he's looking at Earth, and it's just a rock. He's like, oh, there's some rocks there. He comes back 1,000,000 years, and he's like, oh, there's actually people on those rocks now. So that rock peopled as an apple tree appled.
Peopled.
Straight up. That's a pretty good way to put it. I mean,
potential. Well, guys, I think we're running our time over a little bit right now. So
it's probably about that time.
Gonna go and wrap it up. This has been the Modest Humanity Podcast.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks,
It has been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook. We're gonna get it all running up here pretty quick.
All digital platforms.
Yeah, check out Captain Oasis, Jesse Fulbright on Instagram, Dan Stone. That's Bryce Beasley on Instagram. Check out King James Sideways 8. That is James Bullman, and I am Marlon Roos. Paul Renkin. You can check us out on IG or Facebook. Thank you very much.